very accelerationist point of view na it doesn't matter kung magkamali ka along the way. As long as you progress the technology, then everybody benefits.
Oh.
And I think that rings true, especially for defensive technologies like blockchain.
All right, welcome to another episode of Kaka Computer. And today we'll talk about Web3, what its adaptation and role is. So to begin, let's define what Web3 is.
Okay. So, ako muna sagot siguro. I'll define it in three progressions. Nag-start kasi ang internet. This is the Web 1. It's the read paradigm. So, the internet is meant to broadcast information to whoever's viewing it. The viewer plays a passive role. Hindi siya nakikipag-interact. His interaction with the website doesn't change anything about it. Then, Web 2 came, which is the read and write paradigm. So, the experience of one user in a website is different from the experience of another user because we have things like CRUD. We have users creating an account, writing their own generated content, and I mean generating their own content, and that changes the experience dun sa Web 2. They become the publisher of their own platform. But the thing with Web 2 is the frustration is that centralized servers have control over their data. So pwede nila yung isell, they can use it to sway the behavior of their users. Like Cambridge Analytica, it was used to sway the election results based on the data of the users ng Facebook. So that's how Web3 is born. It has the read, write, and own paradigm, which means that users can read and write like regularly in Web2. But the thing is, they can own their own digital assets and they can prove ownership of it. So they can have tokens, they can have NFTs, which can be any file or an ID or any information about them. And it can be contained by their own wallets. And walang makakakontrol na except for them because it's cryptographically secured.
Yun. So, actually, na-explain na niya lahat in technical terms.
Tingnan natin kung pareho.
In layman's terms kasi, yun nga, bali yung sa Web3 is, yung na-experience ko before is yung Web2, is yung definition niya is more on centralized siya. Like, yung Amazon, yung mga servers na malalaki, yun yung nagko-control ng web. And then ngayon, since ganun nga, dahil nga merong argument about censorship and yung mamamanipulate yung data galing sa cloud, which is controlled by bigger companies, so yung mga tao is nag-develop sila ng isang system na sila lang yung makakaano. Yung tawag nga nila, meron nga kaming kasabihan like sa yung ginagamit namin sa Hive, like your keys, your wallet. So yun yung doon nagsimula yung Web3 sa yung decentralization, meaning yung sarili mo talaga yung may responsibility sa lahat. So yun yung parang definition ko, mga simple term ng definition. Since nga masyado tayong reliant, yung Web2 is reliant sa mga server na makikita natin, tinatawag natin mga Big Brother.
Yeah,
Mga
centralized
ganun.
authorities.
So yun, mas siya, mas parang mas private siya. Yan. Privacy yung yung parang catch niya, yung Web3.
As an end user, how do you know if the website or the technology you're using is powered by Web3 or not? Parang may difference ba sa experience or is it mostly sa wallet ownership lang? Like in terms of like pera na crypto pera, or is there more than that in terms of experience?
Yeah, this one is easy to answer for me as somebody who has various experience na sa dApps. So the only separation siguro sa experience is you got to approve the transactions. If you're going to write in the blockchain, lagi yang may prompt sa'yo to approve the transaction. It doesn't matter kung embedded yung wallet mo. It doesn't matter kung in-app or whatever. Laging kailangan ng approval nung nung owner ng wallet. Kasi they have to sign it with their private keys
Mm.
before mag-proceed, and they have to pay the gas fees. Or sometimes somebody else pays the gas fees, but they always have to approve.
To write to your wallet or to
Yeah.
your keys. Parang email na kasi email is also powered by
Yes.
private key. So parang in other words, a private and public key. So you have to
Yes.
have that approval to write to your storage, parang ganun.
Yes.
Sa akin, yun nga, as an end user, like, kung ako yung in layman's terms, kunwari sa nanay ko, i-discuss ko yung Web3.
Mm.
O ito yung private keys mo. Sobrang, it takes time to comprehend yung basics ng like pag-access sa private key, like kung gaano ka-importante yung private key. May iba kasi 'di ba, sobrang haba ng private key, nakaka-stress na itago. And then the second one is paano mo itatago yung private key na yon. So siguro sa ngayon, sa mga normal people, hindi naman normal, sa end user, we can say na medyo mahirap pa na i-explain sa kanila yung mga technicals saka fundamentals na mga basic. Kasi as Pinoy, kung sa Pinoy na lang, yung security natin, 'di ba, yung for example, yung mga end user kadalasan, like for example, ako IT guy ako. So medyo may alam ako sa mga user account na Facebook. Or may mga kamag-anak ako na pwede bang i-login mo tong Facebook. So yung mga ganong klase, dapat may meron pa rin yung yung adaptation is feel ko sa sa Web3 medyo magtatagal pa.
Tagal pa.
Yung as a perspective ng end user, it will take time. Kasi yun nga, like pwedeng mamali ka lang ng send ng private key ng Bitcoin. Wala na lahat wala na lahat, ubos na yan. Masisend na yan sa iba or pwedeng mawawala ng parang bula. So you have to keep attention to the detail. It requires an attention to the detail if you're an end user, and it requires like more on studying in part of like familiarity with
Right.
the users. So medyo, kumbaga sa end user, medyo advanced siya ng konti. Hindi siya parang yung pang basic din na
So if I may ask, no? So is Web3 a fork in the road in a sense that or is it a destination right now? In a sense that will we eventually get to everyone will get to Web3, or at one point you have to choose Web 2 ba and maybe Web 2.5 4, no? Or and then ditong side naman is Web 3. So it's not a straight path na parang 2 tapos kailangan 3 tapos 4, no? Is it a fork or is it a destination ang Web 3?
Actually, very good question. Kasi, hati ang mga tao dito. But my personal opinion is that Web3 is just a means to an end. It's a technological tool, and you cannot apply it to solve all the problems in the world. So there are only some cases where using Web3 makes sense. Like for example, if you want something to be signed by an owner, want something to be proven na ako nga yung may-ari nito, then Web3 makes sense. But if you just want things to be fast, you don't mind centralization, you don't mind censorship, kasi wala na mabilis, then it doesn't make sense. So the way I see it, in the future, we'll have a blend of applications that uses Web3 and that doesn't use Web3, depending on what makes sense.
So it's an optional route, no? In a sense, like
Yes.
some will be on Web 3, some will be on Web 4, maybe galing Web 2 yun, no? Or and
Yes.
then so ganun yung perception, or at least what you
Yes. I think for me is yun. I think they can coexist.
They can
Yung
coexist.
centralization at yung decentralization. Decentralization, yung Web3 is just a tool nga.
Mm-mm.
Either you use it or not. Pero meron din kasi siyang magandang use cases sa real world. Like yun nga, yung immutable kasi siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo siya pwedeng baguhin. Once na pinasok mo na dun sa blockchain, yun na yun. And it can serve as proof. Like marami ng yung sa mga like yun nga magsisilbi din siyang proof na nagawa mo yung transaction na yun for the may mga block time, kung ano yung date and time. And then as well, meron pa rin mga tao na needs yung centralization, na meron ding like yung mga KYC. Actually, 'di ba, kung makikita mo yung mga exchanges, yung mga crypto exchanges, meron pa rin silang KYC, know your customer. Bakit? Kasi sa mga exchanges na crypto, meron tayong P2P. Like yung peer-to-peer na pwede kang magbayad ng GCash, convert mo sa crypto. So in a sense, meron tayong tracking kung may scam ka or hindi. Kasi yun talaga yung yun yung parang issue sa Web3. Since yung scam, like
Yes.
sobrang daming yun yung nami-misinterpret ng tao eh. Like in Web3 you can do anything eh. Like pwede kang pwede mong lokohin yung tao na mag-send ka ng mga keys, na doon ka mag-send ng pera or something.
But that's more social engineering, not
more-
because of Web3 itself, right? It's social engineering.
Siguro yun yung parang nagpapa step backward sa Web3 kung bakit na yung tawag doon, na medyo nagiging skeptical ang tao in terms of like yun.
So White Cloak Technologies is a custom software development company. They build mobile and web applications. They work with leading brands in banking and real estate. Visit their website at www.whitecloak.com to know more. And siguro, as we are about to reach our time, I want to ask lang din as again, medyo, like, you could say, ako yung layman in this case, no? For this particular topic, since you mentioned security, adaptability, I want to ask about the 51% attack. Because it's what I hear when we talk about blockchain. Yes, you own, but if 51% are malicious, TY blockchain for the chain, no? And unfortunately for me, the masses are not always right. There's just so many. Democracy sometimes fail, and blockchain is a little bit like the democratic process, right? And so that's what I worry about, is how often or how worried should we be about the 51% attack? Or is there a solution to that already? Or maybe not?
Okay. So the 51% attack is very common before kasi kokonti pa lang yung nodes. So say you have 3 nodes or 5 nodes, sabihin natin 5 nodes. And then 3 of them voted of this malicious transaction. Then that's gonna be pushed to the blockchain with no problem. And that's a big problem and a security problem. And that will compromise everything.
Yes.
But right now, what we're advocating in Ethereum is to have a diversity of nodes. Say we have hundreds and thousands of nodes. And all these nodes are acting on their self-interest. Kapag nag-push sila ng malicious transaction, then they're gonna be punished. Yung 32 ETH na in-stake nila sa node, pwede yung mawala if they're lying with their transaction. So ano yung magiging incentive nila to act maliciously if everyone is against them, if everyone can be a truth teller. But if you were able to convince 51,000 people or 50,001 people who are self-interested, who have their own minds to vote for what you want, then that is very unlikely.
Right. You have a
Sa akin kasi by the end of the day, yung crypto world, yung Web3 world, they always they tend to like make mistakes from time as they develop. So these things are inevitable by the end of the day. So nasa sayo na lang yun kung magtitiwala ka or hindi. Pero these things happen, like may mga times na yun nga, for example, Solana Network magda-down, yung mga ganong klaseng mga events. So sa akin, in general na lang, since yun nga nangyayari sa Web3, may mga tendency nga na ganun, but they keep on striving, they keep on developing some new things, they keep on like uh, knowing their mistakes, and then they're trying to do what's right, kung ano yung tama. So para sa akin, kung magiging isipin mo na, uy, baka may magganto na naman. Oo, masasabi ko, may mga may ganun pa rin eh. May tendency pa rin, pero ibang ano naman. So yun lang. Sa akin, I trust all in terms of Web3, I trust it Web3 as a tool. Pero yun nga, may mga times talaga na hindi talaga inevitable talaga yung mga ganun.
Add ko lang yung yung point of view ni
Gerard.
yeah, na very accelerationist point of view, na it doesn't matter kung magkamali ka along the way, as long as you progress the technology, then everybody benefits.
Oo.
And I think that rings true, especially for defensive technologies like blockchain, kasi right now we're on the race against AI. AI is getting out of control. You cannot verify whether a content came from AI, whether AI can actually if they can control wallets, then they can manipulate the markets as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so that's why I also believe in what he said, na we need to accelerate this technology as fast as we can, even if it costs some things.
We always, like, as a human, to err as a human eh. So if you're like, lagi tayo nagkakaroon ng mistakes. May mga ganun talaga. Like, syempre, kahit din sa mga crypto, marami din nagiging crash eh. Like, mga nagiging loophole. Like, alam niyo na yung mga Terra Luna, yung mga ganun. So,
Yeah.
but we keep on thriving. Like, people believe, there are like people like believing in Web3. I think hindi siya na Web3 lang eh. Decentralization itself.
Right.
Yun lang.
So para bang Web3 right now is palang the wild west pa lang ngayon, no? Parang
Yes.
it's there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of gold there, but it's also very wild.
Yes.
And we know naman what happened there sa Wild West. Eventually, it's stabilized. It formed, ganyan, etc. And got adopted. And like I said, this is a fork in the road in a sense na it can be used. It will get there as long as people continue to go and develop this.
Yes.
Yes, yun. So, sa ngayon bata pa, early stages pa eh. Masasabi ko early stages pa. Pero, syempre, we're looking forward to like normalize na things na.